And then I'll share my screen. All right, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to our remote learning webinar series. So this is the first session in a series of 6 sessions, and you can certainly attend all 6 or jump in and out whenever you feel that the content is appropriate for you and your needs. So we're looking at how we can support parents, grandparents, and caregivers, as well as teachers during this time of virtual learning. And so we have 4 panelists here. We have Dr. Mary Jane Burge, Dr. Kathy Hinders, Dr. Deb Knazer, and then myself, Christy Wrights. Jim, I'm just gonna mute you, and then you certainly unmute if you have any questions, but we got a little bit of background noise coming from the walk. Okay, so looking at this distance learning that we're in right now, it truly is emergency distance learning, and it's really a lot different from traditional online learning or blended learning, which we would have a lot more time to plan for in the classroom. So what teachers are doing right now is really the best that they can with what they have available. And every single state, every single school district, and even every single school is doing something completely different to determine how they're handling this emergency situation. But like I said, it's really, really different from true online learning. Our number one goal in all of this, of course, is to keep students safe, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And we'll get into some of that more in our other sessions as well. And our second goal, of course, is to educate students the best we can with the resources and the time that we have right now. So when we're looking specifically today at online tools for students, teachers, and parents, there's really 3 categories of learning. And we have, through technology, 2 different types of learning that we call synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. And synchronous learning is real time, like what we're doing right now. So we're face-to-face live. So some of the teachers in the schools are addressing learning through synchronous means, and they actually are having students log into Zoom, to Google Meet, to something like Blue Jeans. There's a lot of different apps out there that allow this synchronous face-to-face communication happening in real time. A lot of schools are also using asynchronous virtual learning, and that's not real time. So the students will be able to log in, maybe watch a pre-recorded video of the teacher, different websites that they're directed to using something like Google Classroom or Canvas or Schoology. And a lot of people as well are using a combination of synchronous and asynchronous. And then we're seeing some schools or districts that are doing virtual learning without technology. And we're seeing this definitely more with the earlier grades and with schools that are in rural areas that don't have very good internet access. And these are schools that are sending home packets. They might have like a material pickup day, and you're doing an exchange of paperwork back and forth between the students and the teachers. So one of the things that I really want to hit on today is how we can ask questions. And the most challenging things that I hear from teachers and from parents is that the hardest thing is to explain what you see on your screen to a teacher or to someone that is trying to help you. So what can we do to kind of mitigate that situation? So when we look at troubleshooting with technology and how we are asking for help, one of the things that I have found that's not always obvious to everyone is how to Google. So actually thinking about how you can Google a question. And my best advice to people typically is to tell them to Google it as if you were to ask the question. So right in the Google search engine, you can type in, how do I share a Google Doc so that my teacher can edit it? How do I take a screenshot of my screen? How do I upload a PDF in Canvas? So whatever task you're trying to accomplish, actually just typing the exact question in Google will yield you with the best results. The other thing that you can do is to take a screenshot of your screen and send that to the person that is trying to help you out. And then if you'd like to try a little bit more advanced of a task, you can try to record a video. And it's really not that hard. Plus, most of us have mobile devices. So literally, if it comes down to the fact that you just need to get that picture to the teacher, use your phone, zoom in the best that you can, take a picture of it, and send that to your teacher. So that's another really great way, just a quick and easy way to take a screenshot per se, and send that to your teacher as well. So then, sorry, I'm trying to move this other camera window out of my text box here. So when we're looking at taking screenshots and screen recordings, we can use the Google Chrome browser, which most people are using right now. And if your students are using Chromebooks, they're definitely using the Chrome browser. And so there are little Chrome extensions, and it's just basically a little piece of software that's free that goes inside the Chrome browser that you can install, and then it will allow you to do different things. So there are these Chrome extensions for lots of different purposes. So the two that we're going to look at today are screen capturing and then screen recording. So in the Chrome Web Store, and I'll show you how to get to this. So in the Chrome Web Store, we just need to open up a new tab and then just Google search Chrome Web Store, and it will open up and look just like this. And then in the top left-hand side, you can search the store. So I'm going to just search the store for screenshot. And the first one that comes up is actually the one that I would recommend. So you just click Add to Chrome, and then click on Add Extension. And then you'll see in your browser, I'm just gonna move it over a little bit so that you can see that here. In your browser, you'll see that icon come up. And I actually installed one yesterday as well. They both do basically the same thing. So whether you choose the full page screen capture or the one-click full page screenshot, either way is fine. And then what will happen, if I go back to my presentation here, I can click on either one of those extensions and it will take a screenshot of my screen right now. So it took a screenshot of that screen that I had open, and then I can simply press download in the upper right-hand corner. The other one works exactly the same. And then you can save it. I'm on a Mac, so mine might look a little bit different if you're on a PC or on a Chromebook. Save it to your desktop or wherever you would save a file. And then you can then upload that in an email to the teacher that you're trying to communicate with, or even right up into Canvas, and that will work as well. So that is simply taking a screenshot, and all it really does is it just captures what the image is on your screen. It's not live, so it doesn't capture any animation or anything like that. To do that, we would need to use a screen casting software. So when we look at screen casting, we're actually creating a video. And so if we go back to that Chrome Web Store and we search for screencast, the Screencast-O-Matic is a good one as well, but I would recommend downloading Screencastify. So Screencastify is really nice because it actually saves right into your Google Drive, or you can save it right into YouTube. And so I've already installed this, but when it shows up in your browser, it's this little red arrow button up on the top right in your extension. So I can go back to my presentation here and I can turn on that Screencastify tool. And for those that maybe are teachers, we have different options to also embed a webcam in here. So it will embed my video of myself speaking right down into the lower right-hand corner. You can change the direction of that as well. And then I can enable my microphone so that I can narrate over what I'm screen recording. And then I can choose to record just the browser tab. So that would be just this presentation that I'm on right now. Or I can choose desktop and it'll capture my entire desktop, including me jumping from window to window or tab to tab if I would like to do that as well. So I'll just show you the browser tab really quickly, and I'll hit record, and I did enable that webcam option. It counts down 3, 2, 1, and then it starts recording. And you'll see now my webcam image is in this bottom right-hand corner as well. So it's recording myself speaking as well as everything that's on this tab right now. And then I can move from slide to slide. I could move up or down, scrolling on a page if I needed to, if I was explaining something in a long document. And then I can, when I'm finished, go back up to that extension and hit stop. And then what it does is it automatically opens up a new tab, and it will show me what it has recorded. So it's about 27 seconds long. And then on the far right-hand side, you can see that it is saving into Google Drive. As soon as it's done saving, it'll say copy shareable link. So I can click on that blue copy shareable link. That link is now copied, and then I can send that to a teacher via just using that link, just copy paste. And then that teacher would be able to view that video that I recorded. A lot of teachers also are requiring students to use screen recordings or giving that as an option for different assignments as well. So those are great tools to use that are free. The Screencastify is free for up to 5 minutes. So if you need to record more than 5 minutes, you'll have to do part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. So let me get back in presentation mode here. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to jump in at any time. And then, so I did have the links here. So under screen capturing, that full page screen capture is really nice. And what that allows you to do, as opposed to some of those other screen capturing tools, it actually scrolls with the screenshot. So if you're trying to capture, like, let's just say a website and you want the whole article on the whole website, you can use that, and it actually automatically will scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and take that screenshot of the whole thing. And it'll end up, you know, really like long and tall, but then when you zoom in on it, you can read it just like normal. And you could save that to Google Drive or your desktop or wherever you need to save it to. And then Awesome Screenshot allows you to capture just a small portion of the web page if you'd like to, or of whatever you see on your computer. So those are kind of the differences between the two. You might use them for a different purpose, but both are really simple to use. Just that one click, and then it'll record or take that screenshot for you. And then Screencastify is that screencasting tool that I've shown you. All right, so looking at Chromebooks, iPads, and cell phones, these are probably the devices that your students are using, or just a traditional laptop. So a couple of quick tips for Chromebooks. One of the most challenging things about a Chromebook is the updates, and especially with all the updates that Google pushes out. So let's say that your students are using Google Classroom, and now Google Classroom is integrated with Google Meet, which is like a live conferencing software like we're using right now. So when that update came out a few weeks ago, not all of the students' Chromebooks were updated, and they update when they restart. So if they never shut them off, often we treat our laptops as if they're mobile devices and we never turn them off. So if you never turn them off, they never run the updates. So one of the best things you can do for that Chromebook is to restart it every night, and then you'll be sure to get the updates every time you restart it for class the next day. Another great tip, if something's not working right, is to just restart the computer. So turn it off completely and restart. Closing any unnecessary tabs or windows. I know that we're all guilty of opening up 4 different tabs and having 10 windows running in each tab, and we get to the point where our computer's just overloaded, and we just need to close all of those unnecessary things if we're having issues. On a Chromebook, also signing out and signing back in is helpful. And then Google has its own Chromebook support page as well. If you go to support.google.com/Chromebook, you'll find a whole slew of resources on how to use that Chromebook appropriately and what you can do to kind of troubleshoot it. And then of course, restarting your home modem and router, which I had experience with just a few minutes before our session today. So it happens quite frequently. We just have to reset everything. And especially with more and more people being on the internet, it's causing a lot of kind of lagginess. And so if you restart everything and get that fresh connection, it'll help a lot. So similar tips for iPads and mobile devices. Learning how to take a screenshot on your iPad or mobile device is very helpful, and it's super easy. Just again, in the Google bar, just type in, how do I take a screenshot on my iPad, on my Android, whatever device you're using. Again, running the updates from the App Store. So not just updating the software on the device, but also running the updates for each app. So if you have an old version of Zoom or an old version of Google Meet, you might not be able to interact in the same way or as easily as if you had the newest version. Using a hard restart when things aren't working right, so holding that power button down for however long until it completely shuts off and then restarting. Making sure that you have the correct apps downloaded. And then again, closing any of those unnecessary apps that you may have open. And then you can always turn off the Wi-Fi and turn it back on again as a first troubleshooting technique. And then of course, restarting your whole modem and router at home will help as well. All right, so looking at the live classroom for Google Meet and Zoom. In Google Meet, typically what students are experiencing right now is using Google Meet embedded right inside Google Classroom. So you don't have to worry about getting a new link every time that the teacher wants you to join Google Meet. So let's say that your student is supposed to be on Google Meet every Tuesday at noon. When you go into your Google Classroom, and this window here on the left-hand side underneath where I say using Google Meet inside Classroom is actually a screenshot of Google Classroom. And then way up in the top left-hand corner, up in the header, you'll see the Meet link. And your teacher will provide that Google Meet link up in that header in your Google Classroom. And then that link will stay the same always. So you don't need to go and search for a new link all the time, because now Google Meet is integrated right into Google Classroom, which is super nice. So you can just click on that link and it'll be the same all the time for your Google Meet. And then using Zoom, obviously you were able to log into Zoom today and use that. So sometimes you might be required by a teacher to share your screen. Perhaps if the teacher wants to see something that the student has going on at home, or wants to see their computer screen, so they can share their screen as well. The teacher has to give permission on their end, which they would obviously know how to do. And then the student would just need to click share my screen, and then you actually have to click the screen that you want to share. So it'll show you kind of an image of different windows on your computer, and you just need to click that again and then hit share. And then obviously, I think that you have figured out how to mute your audio. And if you just hover over yourself in your video, or your name, if you don't have your video turned on, you'll see that little microphone, and you can click on it. And when it's red with the line through it, that means it's muted, and green means that it is on. And then similarly, you can turn on and off your video. All right, another common thing that I hear is the challenge with sharing a Google Doc with a teacher. So if students are using Google Classroom, it usually forces sharing when students submit an assignment, but just in case they don't, there is a new look to sharing a Google Doc, which just came out about a week ago. So when you click share, that big blue button in the top right-hand corner of a Google Doc or a presentation or a spreadsheet, you'll see this window that pops up, and you add people's names right in the top. Sorry there, I don't know what happened. And so you'll click and just type in the email address, or if you're using a school computer, probably with a school Google account, once you start typing in a person's name, it'll automatically show up with their email address. You can just click on that person and click done. Similarly, if you're trying to share it with a student, maybe you're collaborating with another person, you can do that way as well. And then texting my teacher, is that okay? So one of the things that I've heard from most of my students is that they have moved to texting parents because they haven't had a lot of success with trying to email. We all know that we get so many emails throughout the day, and trying to sift through what's just communication from the school about what's for lunch this week versus what's communication from the school from my actual teacher. It's kind of daunting to try to sift through that. So several teachers that I've worked with are actually switching to texting parents, and they're doing that using an app called Google Voice. And what Google Voice allows them to do is to take their cell phone number enter it into Google Voice, and it will generate a local looking phone number for them that's not being used. And then the parents can, or the teachers can give out that phone number to parents and text parents through Google Voice. And so, yes, you're texting a teacher, but you're not actually texting their personal cell phone number. So you're still keeping school separated from personal. And Google Voice is 100% free, and you can also do phone calls from there. So you can do phone calls and texting from the web-based app, Google Voice, or they can do that from the Google Voice app on their phones. And then when the phone rings, it will actually tell them, this is a call from Google Voice. Do you want to accept now or send to voicemail? And then they can choose what they want to do. They can listen to that voicemail later and then return phone calls. So Google Voice has really enabled teachers to do a lot from home when obviously they don't have their classroom telephones available to them. And they are also able to get texts on that, including images and videos. And so what I've heard from teachers is that they really miss seeing their students, and that they really wish that parents would communicate more with them. And they think that texting is just obviously the most simple option to do so. We're all on our phones all the time anyways, and it's really easy to quick shoot a text message off versus opening up your email, trying to upload a picture or a video to your email and send it to someone. So using that phone number instead is a great option. And then, yeah, just sharing with teachers, even just what your student or what your child is up to one day or another. It's just kind of nice for them to be able to see you and have that personal connection, because they do really miss your children. All right. My husband's a chiropractor, so I would definitely be remiss if I didn't mention this. Thinking about physical well-being and screen time with students doing all of this virtual learning. So obviously every student in this picture has a terrible posture, and this is often how we ourselves sit and look at our computers, and how our students do this as well, or our children do this as well. So even thinking about when you're holding your phone, or when your student is holding their phone, holding it up high and then bringing that head up so that you're at eye level. And this would be the same thing for parents, or I'm sorry, people being able to look at a laptop screen as well. So trying to get that laptop lifted up, sitting at a table or a desk is obviously better than sitting like on the couch, you know, kind of hunched over, typing on your computer screen. All right, so a special thank you to the UWS Center for Continuing Education, who has sponsored this series of workshops for us this week and next week. So what are your questions right now?
Christy, I have a question. I know one of the presenters, but the Google Voice, do you have to be a part of Google Classroom to get Google Voice, or is that another extension?
No, you just need to have a Gmail account.
Okay, thank you.
So you can just go to voice.google.com and sign up.
My question is that I'm assuming, since you're working on a Mac, the Screencastify works on a Mac? Because when I tried to do a couple of other ways, they don't work on a Mac, but they would work on my PC, and I no longer have that PC, so.
Yes, yep, Screencastify will work on your Mac.
Okay.
On a Mac, you can also, there's a native software that you can use for screen recording on the Mac too. If you give me a second, I can look at what that is. Let's see.
While you're doing that, Christy, I want to tell you thank you. I learned from you today, and I really appreciate that.
Excellent.
Yeah, I learned 4 or 5 things that I didn't know, and I've been teaching online for 5 or 6 years, so that's awesome.
Yeah, wonderful. With QuickTime, you can do it, and you can record audio or video. I don't use that one as often because then you have to upload the video somewhere. And I really like Screencastify because it puts it right in Google Drive. And then in my Google Drive, I actually have a folder of the Screencastify videos that I've recorded. And I end up with a few folders in here. There we go. So lots and lots and lots and lots of videos. And I have probably, 50 plus videos in here. I'm starting to get to the point where it tells me I should buy some storage in Google Drive.
Okay.
83% of my storage, but I can go in and delete those old ones that I really don't need anymore. And then I can also upload to YouTube instead if I run out of storage.
Okay.
Did anyone else have any other questions? Margaret or Mike, did you?
I think Jim left us.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Go ahead.
not hearing from anyone about questions, we thank you for being with us today. And we'll be back at the same time tomorrow and
Can I
on
just give a-
Thursday.
Can I give a teaser? So,
Yes.
so Margaret and Mike, if you're joining us tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to communicate with your teacher. I'll be bringing in some of the information that Christy shared today because she had a lot of good information, but otherwise it's just an overview of good citizenship while you're online. So I hope you'll join us.
Great.
Wonderful. All right.
All right.
Anything else?
See everybody tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.